Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hey everyone, welcome. You're listening to Tech It Out. This is episode 365. Yep, we've been on the air since July of 2017 every week. So yeah, it all adds up. This show is designed to not just celebrate technology, but also to demystify it. In other words, my goal is to break down geek speak into street speak, as the announcer says. So you can put away that geek to English dictionary. You will not need it here. For our listeners in Florida, I hope you're safe and unaffected from Hurricane Milton, or at the very least, well on your way to recovering from the damage, and I hope it was minimal. I wrote a piece for USA Today on how to leverage technology to help during natural disasters, and I also did some TV interviews as well, like on Fox 5 in New York on Wednesday, on how to use your smartphone to send emergency messages over a satellite connection if cellular or Wi-Fi is down in your area. If you want to read that article or watch that TV interview, I posted them to a few social media platforms like X, Threads, and LinkedIn. If you want to search for my name, it's Mark Saltzman. It's spelled MarkSaltzman. Salt, like, salt and pepper, then the letter Z, and then man. Also, on that note, let me know where you're tuning in to Tech It Out from, whether it's on your local talk radio station or in podcast form. I always love interacting with listeners. If you have tech questions for me, you can also hit me up with those or give me suggestions for upcoming guests or topics on Tech It Out. All right, so we have a great show planned for you today. We're going to kick things off with StoryPhones. These are headphones for kids with a twist. It's such a great idea, actually, for screen-free entertainment for the little ones in your family. And so we'll start Tech It Out with that interview in about a minute or so. Also on the show this hour, Zayo will join us with some tips to remaining cyber safe, whether you're an individual, an entrepreneur, or you run a small to mid-sized business. In particular, we'll hear what a DDoS attack is, if you're not familiar with that term, and how to fight back. Also on this show, tech expert Amber Mack will join us with some small business suggestions, including a laptop with a day's worth of battery life, all in a thin and light form factor. She'll also share a free tool to build you a website. It uses AI, is completely free to use. And so a very busy Tech It Out for you this hour, powered by Intel Core Ultra PCs, including an all-new one, which I'll tell you about, a new desktop platform officially unveiled this past week. I'll tell you more about that shortly, but let's officially kick off a brand new Tech It Out with our first interview. When are a pair of kids' headphones more than a pair of headphones? Well, we're going to now hear about StoryPhones and what they can do that other headphones cannot. Joining us to share the info is Petur Olafsson. He is the founder and CEO of the company ONANOFF, and those are the folks behind StoryPhones. Welcome to the show, Peter. Good to chat with you.
Hi, Mark. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to tell you about StoryPhones.
Excellent. So with that in mind, why don't we dive right in? At a high level, what are StoryPhones? And I should tell our listeners it's spelled story, S-T-O-R-Y, and then P-H-O-N-E-S, as in headphones, but StoryPhones.
Yeah, so this is the kind of next level of headphones. We enjoy headphones to listen to audio, normally through cable or Bluetooth. We started in this kind of a kid space for audio space for kids, and the brand name of Petur phones, like a Zayo audio for kids. But now our latest product, StoryPhones, takes it to the next level. It's a headphones which allows you placing a story shield, which is like a shield which you place on the cup of the headphones.
Yeah, it's like a disc, right?
Yeah, disc. Yeah, disc.
And it snaps onto the outside of the headphones.
Yeah, and so it downloads the stories directly into the headphones. So you don't need any screen. So it's a screen-free entertainment. So stories which you have no screen in front of you, and you take the screen completely away. So the kids can enjoy listening to stories completely screen-free.
I know a lot of parents would like that too. So kids are in the back seat. They've got their StoryPhones on. They can swap out the content by putting on the different, again, I call them discs, on the outside of the headphones.
Yes, correct.
And do they function as regular headphones too? And if so, is it wired or wireless?
Yeah, if you don't have the disc on the headphone, it will automatically become wireless headphones for kids. So you can connect it to any device. So you have a multi-use of the headphones. You can have a screen-free entertainment. And as well, if you want to, you can connect it to your favorite device.
Great. So I like that dual purpose. It makes it more versatile. And it's wireless. There's no wire at all?
Yes, it's wireless, and you can use it as a wired as well. So you have three options. Kind of how we use it for entertainment.
I was going to ask you if the battery dies on the headphones, and we'll talk about battery life in a couple of moments. It's nice to have the option for a cable to plug into, say, a tablet or something like that, if it still has a headphone jack, right?
Yeah,
Which isn't always the case these days. And can you walk us through how it works? So they look like regular headphones, but more kid-friendly. And I know there's some brands we'll get into. The child, when they want to change the content, they place different, I think you call them shields, or I call them discs, like on the outside of the headphones. Is it easy for them to swap it in and out?
Yes, it is magnetically attached to the headphones. So it's very easy for the kids to kind of control the headphones and the stories they listen by themselves. So they, let's say, have 10 different discs or shields in the front of them. They can choose whatever story they want to listen to. They place it on the cup of the headphones, and they can enjoy the screen-free entertainment.
And do you place that shield on only one side of the headphones, only on one cup?
Yes, only one cup of the headphones, yes.
And how many minutes of content would you say on average are in each shield that I'm assuming you do purchase separately?
Yeah, so it's about 40 to up to 60 minutes of content on each shield.
That's great.
And it has multiple stories normally. Depends on the age of the kid. So for younger kids, we try to have the stories a little bit shorter, but more of them on each shield.
Bring screen-free audio stories, music and magic with your children or grandchildren, wherever they go, with StoryPhones. We're learning about them right now. These are kid-friendly headphones with a twist. These shields or discs that connect to the ear cups to unlock audio content. We are chatting with Petur Olafsson. He is the CEO, founder of ONANOFF. That's the company behind StoryPhones. You mentioned screen time earlier. I know for parents, it is a concern. It is a struggle to reduce the amount of time kids are playing on iPads and smartphones and the like.
Correct. Kids are getting exposed to screens from very young age everywhere. Doesn't matter if it's school, at home, everywhere the screen. And screen has, and as well, as much we love the screen entertainment, but it has a negative effect as well. So ultimately, learning to listen to stories helps kids to learn to read and write. It improves the sleep patterns. It boosts the creativity because you need to imagine everything around the stories where the screen takes it all away. And it protects their eyesight. So there's a lot of positivity that goes with screen-free entertainment. And this awareness is you hear it everywhere now. The screen is just getting a little bit too much everywhere. And to have an option of screen-free entertainment is becoming very, very important for kids.
Love it. As a side note, I'm a huge fan of audio stories, and I'm referring to old radio shows before TV became the dominant entertainment medium in the home. I love these old radio plays. They call it theater of the mind. As you said, you're conjuring up the image of the scene and the characters in your mind. It's ultimately more personal and intimate. Those old radio stories are still alive today thanks to podcasts and apps. So I think this is great to also bring it down to a child's level. With that in mind, can you tell us about some of the licenses you have?
Yeah, we have a broad license with kind of like the global license like Disney, and we have it in multiple languages.
I've heard of Disney.
Yeah, you heard about them.
Small little company. Yeah, that's great.
And then we have a partnership with a company in New York called Pinna, and they have a whole collection of different stories, all kind of fun stories. So we have a whole content library of entertainment stories. We have educational stories. We have wellness and health stories, which is kind of all about kind of boosting, kind of helping you with dealing with anxiety, calmness, and so on. And then we have as well where you can read your own stories into the system. So let's say the grandparents might be living far, far away, but they can read stories every night they go to sleep. Brings the familiarity or closeness within the family. And when the kids grow up, they have a means to pass the stories onwards. We call it stories between generations.
Love it. I know there's a product, it kind of looks like a smart speaker, but it's padded. It's called Tony Box, and it's an app that the parents or grandparents use to record stories, not onto the box itself. Is that similar with StoryPhones?
Yes, it's an app, or you can do it through our web platform. So you can easily record the stories. And as what is unique for us is we can create your unique story seal. So online with us, you can upload your photo and print it on the shield or the disc. So it becomes a family heirloom. It's just not a kind of random character.
That's great.
Yeah.
We're going to learn more about StoryPhones when we return. We'll have a few more minutes with them. But first, I wanted to give a shout out to Intel, the title sponsor on this program. Last week, Intel launched its new Intel Core Ultra 200 series processor family that scales AI PC capabilities to desktop platforms instead of laptops for the first time, and ushering in the first enthusiast desktop AI PCs. What's cool is that these new computers significantly cut power usage while retaining amazing gaming performance. And so the result is a cooler and quieter user experience, but again, enhanced AI gaming and creation capabilities for content creators like yours truly. In fact, Intel Core Ultra 200S series processors deliver up to 50% faster performance in AI-enabled creator applications, and that's compared against competing flagship processors. More info on the new Intel Core Ultra 200 series desktop PCs is at intel.com. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We are chatting with Petur Olafsson. He is the founder and CEO of the company ONANOFF. We're learning about a new product called StoryPhones. These are headphones for kids with a twist. Not only do they work as regular headphones, but there are stories that are on these little discs or shields that magnetically attach to the outside of the headphones to give kids up to 45 minutes of unique stories. There's licensed content from the likes of Disney. You could swap it out for other shields or discs to change up the content. There's educational content. Relatives, as we heard just before the break, can record a message for their kids, tell their own stories. It's really magical. It works with an app, but they do work as regular wired or wireless headphones as well. But the idea here is that it's screen-free entertainment, and they're affordable as well. We'll get to that shortly. Now, Peter, how do the kids navigate through the content on the headphones? Is there a button to go forward and back, or do they have to just like listen to it all, even if they've heard that story before?
Yeah, we have a very tactical kind of buttons for the kids. One side is a buttons like up and down, forward and backwards, but you can as well rotate the shield.
Oh, wow.
And you can jump between chapters. So it's very intuitive for kids to kind of control by themselves.
Sounds great. And then battery life, like on average, if you're listening to content off of a shield versus, say, Bluetooth, connected wirelessly to a device like a laptop or smartphone, what are we looking at here?
So it depends, of course, on the content, but it's up to 20 hours.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
And the beautiful thing about our headphones, they're super portable. You can take them with you anywhere because screen-free entertainment is so much easier at home than on the road. So like say, like you mentioned earlier, in the backseat of the car, in a restaurant, if you want to give the kids kind of a calmness, or just listen to stories with just enough and not having always the screen in front of them, StoryPhones is a beautiful item to have.
Is all the content in English at this point?
We have all the content in English, but we have as well in Spanish, French, Italian, and German.
Oh, wow. And that's all on the same shields, or do you have to buy a shield that is only with Spanish content?
So you buy the shield, and within the app, you can decide which language it is in.
And then finally, where are StoryPhones available? How much do they cost? And are there any bundles like where you get a shield or two with it? And how much are the shields as well separately?
Yes, we are launching StoryPhones US market through Target and as well Sam's Club. In Target, you will normally get 1 to 2 shields within the StoryPhones. And in Sam's Club, we have a kind of a bundle pack, which you have extra shields within the bundle. And normal price for StoryPhone is about $99 US.
Okay. And then for the separate shields?
It's about $10 US plus minus.
Yeah, that's great. And are there different colors? I think there is, yeah.
Yes, we have 4 different colors. We have white, we have kind of a gray, we have Disney pink and Disney blue.
Awesome. And then finally, what's the best place to learn more, Peter?
You can go on StoryPhones.com or at our Amazon store. You find us on Amazon under StoryPhones. Or you can as well look into ONANOFF.com as well.
All right, ONANOFF.com, just as it sounds, or StoryPhones.com. Again, that's story, PHONES.com. Peter, congratulations on the launch of StoryPhones. Very exciting. I think it sounds fantastic, pun intended. And thanks for carving out some time to chat with us today.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
All right, we're going to now shift gears here on Tech It Out and talk about cybersecurity. As empowering technology is, I mean, think of how it's changed everything from communication and navigation to information and commerce, health and finance to entertainment. For all the good that tech has brought to the world, cyber criminals are leveraging technology to defraud you, right? Businesses and governments and regular consumers too. To talk to us about a growing threat called DDoS attacks and share other cybersecurity tips that you can use to better protect yourself, we're joined by Shawn Edwards, Chief Security Officer of Zayo. That's Zayo. Thanks for your time and expertise, Shawn. Good to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, before we talk about cybersecurity threats out there today, I think I painted a kind of grim picture off the top, including DDoS attacks. Tell us a bit about Zayo, the company.
Zayo is a networking-based company. We focus on fiber optic networks. We also provide internet access and service providing to various businesses. We also have managed services where we actually do provide protections against denial of service attacks like we're talking about today. And essentially a multinational company, but we focus kind of heavily upon our business-to-business relationships.
I'm going to borrow a lot of your cybersecurity expertise today, if that's all right. And again, speaking of which, and I did mention this off the top, everybody's getting hit, whether you're in the government, you're a nonprofit, a business, you're a regular consumer. We're getting attacked, it seems, on all fronts, whether it's a text message, an email, a phone call, or a robocall, over direct message on social media. I mean, it's really hard to keep up, with these threats today. How would you describe the current cyber threat landscape, and what's making it so challenging, do you think, today?
Yeah, I think the main reason that the landscape right now is so challenging is because it's ever changing, right? There's so much digital transformation going on. The advent of AI has been one of the key shifting points for how we manage our cybersecurity risks. And these type of things are really driving lots of growth in the technology sectors, which naturally leans over into the cybersecurity realm and the additional threats that are facing our landscape.
I mentioned DDoS attacks earlier, short for distributed denial of service attacks. When we return, I want you to please explain, what is this? What is a DDoS attack? DDoS. Elon Musk was just chatting about this. So we'll get a plain English explanation of what a DDoS attack is after this, as well as what you can do about it if you've been a victim of this or want to safeguard yourself from becoming one. We're going to be right back. So more Tech It Out when we return.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. We're chatting with Shawn Edwards, Chief Security Officer for Zayo. We're talking about cyber risks out there like DDoS attacks. What is this and why do you think it's becoming a real big issue? I know Elon Musk recently talked about that just about a month ago.
Essentially, they're a malicious attempt at actually disrupting normal traffic to a service or to a website. And really what they do traditionally is they overwhelm it. They flood it with a large volume of traffic and data. And this actually becomes the target to actually become slow or unavailable or really to even just crash entirely. They've remained a hot topic for so long because they have a low barrier to entry. So it's easy for adversaries to leverage DDoS attacks against a company or against an entity. We see a lot of these attacks and very high volume because...
And what are the motivations behind a DDoS attack? Is it always monetary gain or political? Like, for example, again, I mentioned Elon Musk. he was interviewing Donald Trump on X, his social media platform that he purchased. And this DDoS attack prevented others from listening in or watching the feed. Was that motivated politically, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would say that's probably one of the primary attack vectors is someone they want to silence a voice, right? They want to do something to shut down the visibility and accessibility of that content. If you take something like our political realms, they want to quiet that political conversation that's happening. And so they'll target someone like Musk to reduce the actual visibility into their conversation. You can also see it when someone has a grievance, say like more hacktivism, as I would call it, which is ideological ideas where maybe they don't like the fact that a company is supporting, say, the Olympics for one reason or another. They'll attack that company, right, to try to cause disruption and create some discord.
Sure. Or it could be a disgruntled ex-employee, or it could be espionage, like, it could be like a competing company maybe that's trying to, so it sounds like there's a lot of reasons. But monetarily, how does one benefit from a DDoS attack against an organization or a publication?
So there's a couple ways that DDoSes happen. DDoSes are typically driven from what they call a botnet, or, this where systems have been already taken over. And so either there's the individuals who already control that botnet, which could be anybody's computer that has been infected, or it could actually be even as a DDoS for hire service. There's these online websites you can actually pay Bitcoin to and just point them at a target, and they will use some other botnet to attack. Right, so they have control over a botnet. So there is a cost into utilization of these bots, these attacks that come in. The typical thing, however, is there's not a lot of what they would call more of a ransomware situation. There definitely was 5+ years ago. There was several groups that were they would DDoS a company, and then they would send them a ransom note and saying, if you don't want to be taking it down again, pay us Bitcoin. And if you didn't, then they would hit you again, and they would keep doing this to try to extort money out of companies. Yeah, so we do see some of that sometimes. I would say it's the smaller percentage, though. However, we see mostly around hacktivism and just general disruption.
It would seem that more money could be raised by extorting a company, the ransomware, we're going to release all of your customer information publicly on the dark web or what have you if you don't pay up kind of thing, rather than a distributed denial of service attack. Or with your example that you can actually combine the two together. Are there other cyber threats that our listeners should watch out for these days? Are viruses still a thing, for example, if you don't click a link or attachment on an email that you get?
Yeah, I would say phishing is it has been and remains one of the main attack vectors for most of these adversaries. Identity theft, financial gain through fraud, corporate espionage, unlawful access into systems. Like, these are all methods that phishing still remains today one of the main attack vectors. And the main reason for that is, the human element is typically one of the weaker ones when it comes to these type of attacks.
So again, phishing is when you receive an authentic looking email or text or phone call thinking it's somebody else, whether it's your bank or your boss, and they lure you onto a phony website where you're inputting information that is not legitimate. And then that's where the identity theft can happen, or the ransomware or whatever. But the fact is, they're often called social engineering, where humans are the weakest link. It can get past all of your cyber defenses. So yeah, that's why education, no doubt, plays a key role. We are chatting with Shawn Edwards, Chief Security Officer at Zayo. We're talking about the growing risks out there in cyberspace for businesses, governments, and consumers. We've spent a bit of time on distributed denial of service attacks, or DDoS. A lot of our listeners work for companies, maybe in the IT space as well. They want to protect themselves. So what are some essential steps that they should take to secure their operations?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think some of the biggest value you can have is covering down on the basics, the fundamentals, foundational elements in any company. Many times, these basic type of hygiene, for lack of a better term, is really what's going to give you the biggest return on investment for the amount of effort you have to put in. These can include things like we have already talked about, like DDoS prevention, phishing prevention, security awareness training. There's also some other areas around like endpoint malware protection, so stopping the infections. These are all things that are generally table stakes, but have really, really large return on investment for most companies.
Does this fall under the zero trust ideology? Do you subscribe to that?
I do. It's become a bit of a buzz on this terminology of zero trust. It's in the concept is solid. It's really the implementation that provides the challenge. And the concept of zero trust is that you validate everything the entire way through. So you always are, is this the right user? Are they coming from the right location? Are they accessing the right resources? These type of activities in a zero trust model are valuable. And those services and those capabilities I was referring to, they all feed into that same concept.
When we return, I'm going to ask how Zayo falls into all of this and how to get going. Speaking of cybersecurity, one part of the solution is securely shopping online. And so I'm thrilled about my partnership with Visa on Tech It Out, as they've made some significant investments in fraud prevention over the past 5 years, as much as $10 billion. Yes, that's billion with a B, to support Visa's brand promise to protect the financial information of individuals and businesses. Zero liability means peace of mind when you shop online using your Visa card. There can be no half measures when it comes to cybersecurity, which is why the company takes an aggressive and multi-layered approach to combating the rising threat of malicious software and other threats by well-funded and global criminal enterprises. Read more about Visa and how securing the world's payments is priority one at visa.com/security. That's visa.com/security. But we will have a couple more minutes left with Zayo Group to talk with us about DDoS attacks. And of course, Amber Mack will join us to talk small business tech. Stick with us, more Tech It Out coming right up after this.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. A couple more minutes with Shawn Edwards from Zayo Group on how to best protect yourself and maybe your small business, if you run one, from cyber threats out there like DDoS attacks that are in the news a lot lately. Where does Zayo come into all of this before we wrap up? I was going to ask you also about your predictions for the future of cybersecurity, but tell us how your organization can help companies defend against cyber attacks.
So I would say, we have several layers of opportunity at Zayo that we provide, which is unique. We control much of the backbone, right? So we see a lot of the attacks before they manifest on our customers. We also have layered protections like with managed firewall, managed DDoS services, these type of things, which add on additional visibility and control into that conversation. So you have this, they call this concept defense in depth, but the idea is you layer on all these different layers of defense so that you're not just a one and done kind of risk situation.
And just to be clear, does that imply a business must use Zayo as an internet service provider? Or could you also help a company defend against cyber threats who use another company for internet access?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So it's not unique to having to be on Zayo network. Okay. There is some value, I would argue, in having us as your partner from a resilience perspective, performance, and then, of course, the layered on security capabilities. These all help us getting additional visibility into your traffic and being able to mitigate these threats.
That makes good sense. Since I've got you here, I'd love to pick your brain on where you think we're going in terms of the future of cybersecurity. Any new threats that are emerging we should be aware of?
Yeah, positive and a negative, maybe if I could share, right? So I would say, to me, one of the biggest threats still for businesses is supply chain. So this is supply chain security is where you rely upon a third party to help you provide services or capabilities to your employees or your customers. We've seen several issues recently where is there dependencies upon other companies. Right. So for example, I'll use Zayo as a perfect example. So Zayo uses different networking equipment. We use third parties. We have companies that provide us technology. We rely on them to make sure that those products are secure. If they're not, they put Zayo at risk and hence our customers.
Yeah.
So that dependency creates risk in and of itself. That's hard to manage sometimes.
Yeah, I've heard of that third-party risk being a real issue. For example, a bank may use a company for their accounts payable work, right? Their AP stuff. So what if they are the ones that have the vulnerability? Then the bank is at risk as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think there's a positive side as well here, right? You've mentioned on AI and the adoption of AI. I'm a big proponent of the usage of AI. And I've seen significant value in Zayo on our leveraging AI in order to detect threat, manage threat, mitigate threat, automate our response to these threats.
Great.
And I know it gets a lot of bad press because so are the adversaries, but I think it's a kind of a race condition that I think that we're in right now. And I do think that there's a lot of value coming out of AI for security that I think will move us leaps and bounds forward.
Good to hear. And is there a website, Shawn, we could leave our listeners with to learn more about Zayo?
Yeah, please check out Zayo.com. We have all of our products and services and everything we offer there.
All right, awesome. Again, that's Zayo.com. Shawn Edwards has been our guest, Chief Security Officer. Thanks so much for your time, Shawn. Really insightful chat. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
October is Small Business Month, a time to celebrate and support entrepreneurs who are, of course, the backbone of our economy. To help these owners save time and money, tech expert and entrepreneur Amber Mack is joining us, and she's got 4 tech tips and tools to share with us. Hey, Amber, good to chat with you again.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on. And I'm excited about this topic, Mark, because you and I are both entrepreneurs, so we know how much tech and tools can help all of us.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, I was going to say, as a solopreneur myself, I am looking forward to hearing your suggestions to help me remain, competitive and productive and profitable. And I know many of my listeners also have a side hustle or they do run a small to mid-sized business. So where do you want to start, Amber?
Yeah, so let's start at the top one, building an affordable smart website using an AI tool. One of the cool things about some of these new website builders out there is that they are no code. So basically, that's exactly what it says. You don't need to know how to code to build a site. Basically, it's kind of like drag and drop. So the service is called Framer, super, super easy to use. You don't need any design or development experience. You can choose from templates. You can use all the built-in AI tools to get help writing copy, for example. And in just minutes, you can create a website for free. Depending on the size of your business, you can pay up to approximately $10 a month for hosting. But you can see, Mark, that this has become so affordable to have a really good looking website, even if you don't have the skills or the resources to hire a huge team.
Yeah, for sure. And, $10 a month is highly competitive compared to these other hosting sites as well. So I know to design it is free, but as you mentioned, hosting also means that you can update it when need be. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. So you don't really have to worry about anything. And the nice thing about using Framer as well, if you have your own domain name, like for me, it would be ambermack.com. I, of course, can still have that domain. They make it really easy to ensure that your site is ready to go. So again, by yourself, you could essentially build your own website for a really affordable price, and it will look very modern and slick as well. And that reminds me, Mark, I need to update my website because it's missing both those things.
I disagree. I was just on your website this morning and it's pretty slick. Framer, is there a website that we should know about?
Yeah, so you can head on over to ambermack.com and all of the links are there, and you can check out Framer online.
Okay, speaking of your website, we're going to have a few more minutes with Amber Mack when we return, beginning with a thin and light laptop with about a day's worth of battery life, which is awesome. So we're going to continue on with more Tech It Out after this short break, as well as how to best back up your important files without breaking the bank. Stick with us. A lot more Tech It Out coming right up after this short break. Hang tight.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want.
A few more minutes with tech expert Amber Mack. I would argue, on a related note, that a computer or a laptop primarily is your most invaluable companion as a traveling entrepreneur, as I am. What do you have in this regard?
Yeah, so I have been testing out the LG Gram Pro laptop. I've used an LG Gram in the past. This is my first time testing out the LG Gram Pro, and a few things that I love. It's slim, it's powerful, has a really long battery life, so up to 21.5 hours on a single charge. Mark, that is impressive, right? Like in our world.
Yeah. That is, to me, battery life, while it's not the sexiest of features to look for when you're shopping for a new laptop, it's so critical. It's the most underrated feature to look for. So north of 20 100%. Hours is amazing.
It is amazing. Again, so really great performance. So if you are using all those new AI tools that exist out there, this will work really seamlessly. Of course, it has great top level performance thanks to Intel's latest CPU, advanced graphics, a high refresh rate. All of that just means means that, hey, let's say you have things to do in terms of running your small business, even like editing video. You're able to do this with the LG Gram Pro laptop, and it makes it super, super easy. It's also touch screen. So if you're on the go, you're working from different places, if you're a small business owner or solopreneur, this is really a great choice out there as far as laptops. And again, like you said, in terms of the battery life, you just can't beat it.
And the website, again, is going to be at ambermac.com to check out the LG Gram Pro and get links and photos and all that, maybe some videos as well. And most of my listeners, they do use Amazon Amber. We are chatting with Amber Mac, tech expert and entrepreneur. We use Amazon as consumers and as businesses, but not everyone knows that Amazon does have a dedicated Amazon Business service that gives discounts on purchases. Is that right?
Yeah, so I have been using an Amazon Business account for a few months now. So you can sign up for an account with Amazon Business. This allows you to basically do all of your purchasing for your business in one place. You can have other team members. You can get great deals and discounts on everything from technology to supplies for your office, even if it's your home office. Also, they have something called Subscribe and Save, which lets you schedule deliveries on a regular basis where you can get a discount on the things you order a lot. You know, for me, that might be paper for the printer or coffee in our studio. And it's super, super easy to sign up. And best part yet, and I didn't realize this until recently, you can also actually buy from other small businesses that they have listed within Amazon Business. So that's a fun feature too. If you're a small business and you want to support a small business, they make it super easy.
So it's not just about discounts, but some of those other features that you've highlighted. And you've also talked about AI quite a bit, first in creating a website for your business, then the laptop had AI in it. Amazon, I know, leverages artificial intelligence to recommend things that it thinks you want, and it's usually pretty bang on for me. You know, if you bought this, then you may want that kind of thing, and that works for me, upselling me, but it's definitely things that I'm usually looking for. And then finally, there's also, you wanted to talk about AI as a software to help you and your business remain efficient and productive.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's fair to say that a lot of people at this point have used ChatGPT, and they may think, oh, well, that is the only thing out there in terms of an AI tool that can help me. But I wanted to just mention Google Gemini. So as a small business owner, you can sign up for Google Gemini. This means that you have this incredibly powerful AI assistant to help with creativity and productivity, and it exists and kind of lives in all your Google services. I've been using it a lot lately, Mark, and I'm actually super impressed in terms of how it really enhances things that I do, even beyond ChatGPT. So, for example, if I were to take a spreadsheet for my company and upload it to Gemini, I would be able to get insights that Gemini has determined from that spreadsheet. I can upload images. So really, it does a lot more than ChatGPT. So for me, this feels like a better business tool than a ChatGPT.
Right. And not just upload images, but ask Google Gemini to help you create images that you can use for free on your website or other marketing materials, which is always nice. Just to circle back to your website creation tool recommendation. So Google Gemini, and I know it's improving all the time. So there's a lot more. I know that they just announced early in October that's coming to Gemini soon. So great stuff. And again, ambermac.com is the website to see all of these 4 items and grab links and see videos and photos to them and see other work from Amber, which I highly recommend reading her blogs and listening to The Feed, which is her syndicated radio show on SiriusXM satellite radio. Always great to chat with you, Amber. A wealth of ideas as well. Thanks so much for joining us during October, which is, of course, Small Business Month. Thanks again.
Hey, Mark, thanks so much for having me on.
And thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, powered by Intel. And speaking of Intel and computers, don't forget to properly back up your important files on a regular basis. You can find amazing sales this time of year on Western Digital external hard drives and SanDisk solid state drives and USB thumb drives and SD memory cards. All of that offline storage. You get a lot of bang for the buck. No monthly subscription required. westerndigital.com has more, or sandisk.com. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. And I look forward to catching up with you next time for another brand new episode of Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now. Ciao.